welcome to a brand new season, season 3 and episode of Wedflics. I'm your host, Julia Braime. I'm the editor and founder of Brides Up North, the top UK wedding blog for northern couples, and the editor of Unveiled magazine, the go-to bridal glossy. In this episode, we meet Eleanor Richardson of The Angels. Now, Eleanor is a dream weaver. She's an event planner who brings even the most out of this world concepts to life, and her parties and weddings are the best in town. Let's meet her. So let's introduce Eleanor's business. So Eleanor is an amazing wedding planner. Her company, The Angels, is renowned in Yorkshire for, very high-end, high-level events that create wonderlands for people. They're straight from the imagination, is what I would say. And you've been doing it for, you were saying to me off camera, for nearly 20 years.
Yeah, so we started in 2003. It's just hard to believe, really. But so The Angels was born in 2003. So, yes, so it's been a long time, but it is absolutely flown. It's flown.
And so how did it start? How did The Angels begin?
So The Angels began because of my love of parties, really, my love of events. I've always loved hosting people. I've loved looking after people. And I love going the extra mile. So even when we have dinner parties at home, or I do Christmas at home, or now one of the children's birthday parties, their friends at school, their mums don't really like it because we always just go, everything. So, it's the worst thing. Bless them. If my parties are before theirs, they don't particularly love it. Anyway, I love it. I absolutely love creating worlds. I love making dreams come true. And I have a very short attention span, so I get bored of things quite easily. So this is why weddings, events, parties are the perfect thing for me, because you put it up and then before you know it, you have to take it down and do the next one. And people always ask me which my favourite was, and I always say the last one I did, because I always put 110% into it. I can't do anything other. I think that we always have it. I hope that the work we do sort of reflects that.
From the images I've seen of some of the incredible events that you've ran, I think it's very obvious that 110% has been piled into those weddings, into those corporate events. They are just, mind-blowing in terms of the look. And I mean, the next time you host a party, Eleanor, I hope I'll be on the guest list, because I really want to come to one of your parties.
Oh yes, we have to. It's the very, very important guest list. I believe in enlightening every sense. So I think that from the minute that you walk into a party or wedding, that there can't be a lull anywhere. That every sense has to be, every attention, every detail has to be looked into. Every single thing has to be considered and thought about. And it's what you smell, it's what you eat, it's what you taste, it's the things you see, but every single sense has to be on fire. And that's the secret of the party. It's just making every single thing is being considered.
I love that. It's bringing it all together, isn't it? And it's on lots of different levels to make it perfect. But how do you go from loving parties and hosting to actually doing it as your career?
So I've always believed if you really love something, you can be a success. It can be a success for you. And I think as obscure as that can be, I think if you really, really love it, that you can make it fly. And it was just something that I loved doing. I used to work in marketing, so my first positions were in marketing. And I was very fortunate to be involved in the launch of quite a few big brands, namely Sony PlayStation, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. And I worked with a company in London who created those launches, and thought to myself, that's the bit I want to do. So I love the marketing side, and I love producing all the rest of the elements. However, that the live event, the live work is the thing that sets me on fire. That's the bit. So I left. I was very brave. I left my position and approached a company in London, and they took me on. They saw the opportunity, I guess, and they took me on. And that was a company who was owned by Sir Bob Geldof, and we did some incredible media parties. I worked with a wonderful lady called Danielle Ney, who is phenomenally talented. And a lady called Caroline Hurley, and we had a wonderful time, and we produced some beautiful work. Then I met the love of my life and moved back to Yorkshire, and we got married, and The Angels was born. It was supposed to be something different for a start, and then it transpired that it would just be events, which bizarrely that's the way that the world pointed me in. Sometimes the universe has a way of pointing you in a direction, I believe. And that was The Angels. That was 2003. And that's all she wrote. We used to do a lot of property work. So my husband is an architect, so we used to do a lot of work in the property industry when that was booming in Leeds and the area.
Yeah.
Then obviously there was a slump there, so one of our clients, their daughter was getting married. They asked us to get involved in that. We started doing a lot more private work and moved a little bit less focused just purely on corporate. And that's the relationships I love. I love the relationships with my clients. I'm very fortunate. We have some extremely wonderful clients who have started off as clients and now friends. You know, I sort of see their children now. I've done their weddings and see their children. I end up doing them 40ths, and then it's wonderful. It's wonderful. You feel a part of people's lives, and that's really special. Yeah, it's very special, and the fact that they want you involved in all the key moments in their lives is wonderful. So that's how the weddings came about, and I do feel that the weddings and the private events are very different, because you obviously have to get into the mindset of the person you're creating the event for. It's not my party, so my parties that I do here are my parties, and those aren't my parties. Those are the clients' parties. So I have to, create what they're looking for. But the difficult thing often is that they might not know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So I have to get into their minds and unpick their Pinterest boards, which can be a little bit confusing to them even, because they don't know. They like this, but then they also like the other. And how do they all work together? So that's our job, and that's what we do. Catherine and I sit and we meet with the couple, and we understand where they want to be on their day, what their day wants to mean to them, what they love, what most importantly what they hate, what they don't want them to be, how they want to feel, all these elements, and then we help them create that. And that's from the first moment. It can be from the first moment, or it can be later down the line when they've realised that actually they've bitten too much off, and they're struggling a little bit. Because it can be quite destructive, it can be quite, it's hard for couples sometimes. And we end up also working with the parents. We can work with, so everybody gets a little bit of what they want out of the day.
I think so. I mean, ideally, it's better if the couple comes to you at the start, isn't it? Because it's going to be a much smoother process, like for them, really, in terms of they come to you full of excitement without the jaded reality of planning a wedding, particularly nowadays, particularly in these COVID times. It's even worse. But the reality of planning a wedding is overwhelming. It's a big job. There's a lot of expectations. There's a lot of pressure from lots of different angles. Even in the most happiest of families, there's different expectations and different pressures. So if you've got a team like you and Catherine behind you from the outset, who are helping the couple with the couple's best interests, and giving airtime to others at heart, like, I think that's a great way to start. But you know what, it's interesting you say that people sometimes come to you later down the line when they've realized that I just remember a friend of mine who could really have done with your services. Who actually I helped her because of my connections with the industry, but she would have been much better off with you. But she was just obsessed with favours, like the fiddliness of favours, and became tunnel vision on these favours, and it was going to be so expensive to produce them. And in the end, I just said to her, look, just get rid of the favours, like spend that money on something that's going to have some impact. You know, it means nothing to you.
And that's quite, it's funny. It's so often a couple can be fixated on an element, a sparkly dance floor, because they've seen pictures of a twinkling dance floor on the Kardashians' wedding, and they absolutely want that. But when they've actually worked out the reality of that, and maybe, you know, could be a big chunk of their budget. I don't know. Like you say, the favours. You know, don't worry about the favours. You can guide to something else. You know, create something that's going to be really memorable. And
I mean, I would take a sparkly dance floor any day over a little bag of random buttons and bits.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, we're picking our examples. I think you made me want one of those now. I'm like, yes, that's a great idea. I'm going to put that on my mood board. I put the sparkly dance floor on my mood board. I was a bit obsessed at my wedding with having a black and white dance floor. And I think my dad actually drew the line and said, no, the budget has gone too far. You're not having one of those. And I'm still a little bit bitter about that. So I think that's why. Yeah, I think that's why that struck a chord with me. He definitely won't be watching this, so you know, Dad. Do you then? You say you work with the couples individually. Do you think you have a signature style of event?
I love a reveal. I can't help it. I just love a reveal. I love a hidden dance floor because it's the element of surprise again. So I think that's one of our, you know, a marquee. Having a revealed nightclub, to me, is absolutely wondrous. People sort of drawing a gasp as the kabuki drops or the curtains go up is quite wonderful. And at that stage of the day where you think, oh, it couldn't get any better, then all of a sudden it does. You know, that's incredible. That's one I do love that. But a signature style, no, because it's not my style. It's not my day.
Yeah, no. I know, but I think you do a bit. This is the thing, because I knew you were going to say this. I knew you were going to say, no, it's all about each individual party and couple. But I think your signature style is quality, like high quality, big impact. And I think that those two things can be separate to each other. You can have high quality without the big impact, and you can have big impact perhaps without the high quality. Definitely go for the first one if you're quibbling between the two. But I think your things are high quality, big impact, whether that's a small affair or a really, really big one. I just think your scale and everything like that is just perfect, spot on.
Oh, thank you. No, I love that. It's really important to me, and getting things to be the right size. You know, the impact as you walk into the room, to me, is so necessary, because some of these rooms are, you know, they're big. They're big. They've got high ceilings. You think about wonderful Rudding Park. I love Rudding Park. Wonderful Rudding Park, and the Radcliffe room there. It's a big high ceiling. You know, it's a big high ceiling. We have actually invested in some candelabras which perfectly match the chandeliers in the Radcliffe room, just because I know that if the addition of those, it just gets it right. But then if you do a third of those and then a third of a whoppadoodle floral, it just looks breathtaking. And I'm glad you said it. And, you know, I would say elegance. I love an elegant event. I love elegance. I think it's
yeah. I think again though, you've got the elegance, but I do think you are not boring.
No.
So sometimes with elegance comes a bit of stuffiness. You know, oh, we're so elegant, we're so chic, but we don't have any fun at our parties. You know, that vibe. But I think your parties are so full of life, and like you said, like all those senses, like the smells and the music and the lighting and smoke if it's needed, coloured smoke if it's needed. You know, I can just imagine, and I really want to come to one of your events, because I can imagine rocking up at one of your events and being like in my lovely dress, glass of champagne or whatever the welcome drink is, and you just kind of, wow.
I think so. I mean, my favourite place to be on the start of any of the parties is hidden by the door, because I love to see people's faces as they walk in. It's my favourite place, and you'll always find Catherine and I hidden, just watching people.
So with your couples then, I mean, you'll be working with some couples now for this year or next, and I'm sure that, well, Catherine was telling me your inbox is very busy at the moment with inquiries, and some people bring their rearrange dates forward again as well, which is really nice because they just can't wait for those events. What are your brides and grooms asking you for? Like, what are they loving at the moment, or is it all different?
I think it is different, and I'm quite refreshed by the to ring the changes, actually, in that so many people are just so keen to get married, and they if there was any piece of advice that I would give a couple, it would be less guests and more for you, more about what you want, more personal. And I think that this is maybe one thing that this time has brought to people, that the people they want there are precious, and to make it very special in that way. And I think that's the thing that we're finding more common, that people are saying. Styles wise, I think people have confused themselves, because the poor girls have been going round and round and round and round in circles, and to change their minds, and then they come back to where they started, and then they change their minds again. So that's, that it's almost trying to refocus. But it's been such a tough time. I wouldn't have swapped places with any of our brides. I think it's such a hard time questioning what they might be able to do.
I'm the same. I'm obviously an editor of a glossy wedding mag, and I'm supposed to be setting the trends as well as narrating them. And I found it hard to kind of drill down into where we are at the moment. So I love chats like this because it helps me with my job.
Yeah, I should be asking you. I should be asking you what the trends are.
Well, I agree that I think there is a move towards kind of more intimate, more luxury celebrations. I think that's been the case. I don't know if that will remain the case. I don't know if we're a bit tired of that chat now, and actually coming out of it, we will want more people and back to like the bigger parties.
Yeah, I think you think about 160 people is a lot of people. So do you want 160? Do you really, really love those 160 people? Do you really want them all at your wedding? That would be my, or would it be better with 100? And your budget just being a little bit more rich, and looking after them all a little bit more, making it longer,
I think so, like still having the party but having it amped up. So maybe finding a middle ground between the 15 and a really super luxury dinner to the 100 to the 200, finding it in the middle at about 100, and then the budget kind of meets in the middle. I think that'll be nice. And I've seen also a lot of romance. So I've seen, the kind of Juliet sort of dresses with the tulle sleeves and lots of florals and kind of latte colours and pinks coming back a little bit. And I do like that. I do like that kind of undone romance. But I wonder, on the flip side of that, if that's, obviously it's a reaction to kind of needing to draw close and all that sort of thing. But I wonder if we'll see a flip on the other side and see some real like sort of Hollywood statement styles coming through as well.
Oof, I hope so.
Me too.
I really hope so. We could do some Hollywood glam, couldn't we? Real Hollywood glam.
Yeah, we could do with some, red or white carpets. I think there's a place for some Diamante.
Do you? Never thought I'd hear you say that, Julia.
I know. I think there might be a place for a Diamante scatter crystal.
You leave that with me. I'm not sure about a scatter crystal.
I'm 100% up for a Diamante scatter crystal. I'm just going to get some for use at home if you're not going for it, Eleanor. Okay, but genuinely, where do you get your inspiration from?
Oh my goodness, I have such vivid dreams. I have conversations with couples, and Kat and I have chats, and then all of a sudden I wake up in the morning or in the middle of the night, and I'm like, where has that come from? I mean, I don't know where a lot of them come from. Poor Kat has to make them work, which is the worst job in the world. Poor Catherine.
She loves that though.
She does. So I have these outlandish ideas, and then Catherine's like, right, okay, leave that with me. So yes, it works well. We're a good team.
Yeah, from meeting Catherine at my shows and then getting to know her a bit better, like via this medium, she's so great. She's so practical, isn't she? And kind of on it with everything. She's absolutely brilliant.
She on that logistic side.
So turning your dreams and your big concepts into reality. And that is where kind of like that's why as a company you're so good at what you do, because you don't say no to the big ideas.
We just make them work. So, you know, I meet couples, and so she might love horse riding. He may have started his life in Australia. It's, you know, you have to have reasons, bring things in, you know, make things real, you know, turfed areas, outside terraces, interesting spaces, creating worlds within worlds, walking around a corner and unveiling a little space, so everybody can find their area where they're comfortable, not having any lulls. That's a big key. You know, you don't want a lull. You know, gosh, we've all been to those weddings where there's the breakdown of the room and everybody has to leave.
Yeah.
Gosh, no. So
I remember going to a wedding, you know. I remember going to a wedding, which was an early wedding, which was strange to start off with. But I mean, you know, maybe they're working around certain restrictions or whatever. But we all had to go home and come back.
I'd probably gone to bed. Yes,
I think I did. I think I did have a lie down. And, you know, this is when I was like mid-20s. So I should have been like, you know, energy. And I was really tired. And I remember thinking about not going back.
Yes.
That's bad, isn't it?
Well, I think that's the thing for me. You've got to keep people, there's no lull, especially when you've had a few drinks in the daytime, you've got to keep the impetus, you know, keep it all going. You've got to keep it all exciting. Yes, no. So we try to make, if they have to leave a room for a reason, there's a reason that they leave there and they go somewhere else, which is equally as exciting. But they don't just go out for an hour. They might leave for a couple of hours, but then they'll be doing something out there. So that might be when something else exciting happens, and there might be a live artist doing paintings, and they might play games out, you know, garden games outside on the terrace, all sorts of fun things that can happen, which are actually part of the wedding, not the fact that they've just got to leave a room and stand in a hotel all day.
It's clever because it's planning the day. It's a clever way to think of it, because they're going for a reason, like you say, everything's happening for a reason, and they're distracted by that. So they think they're off to do this special thing, but actually you're doing your magic back here, like swans paddling madly to get the room ready for the next magical reveal that then they don't even know if they're in the same room. I once went to a wedding with an amazing reveal, actually. A friend of mine had a big marquee area, and you went in and it was kind of like, it might be really yours actually, it's on a similar path, and you go in and it's kind of like a white chill out lounge was where the drinks reception was. She got married at Liverpool Cathedral, so that was all very wow. Back to the total juxtaposition of the white chill out zone with like a half bar. So obviously you know what's coming. But and then all of a sudden you hear music and you don't know where it's coming from, like saxophone and a full band, and then they drop the curtain and it was to the rest of the marquee that we didn't know was there. And it was all floral trees and white smoke, and they were playing like Ibiza party music, and it was just, I think everyone, it gives me goosebumps because everyone in the room went wow, and then it was just everyone was straight on the dance floor. I think they did their first dance then and there, and I have got goosebumps talking about it because it was just such a good reveal. So it is a really good thing to plan.
One of the key things for me, actually, a turning point in my career, was when I went to a party that a friend of mine's parents had thrown for her brother, his 21st, and we were quite a lot younger. It was fabulous. It was really fabulous, and there was smoke, and there was areas unveiled, and there were DJs in treetops, and it was amazing. And I thought, that's what I want to do. And you know, I want guests who are running over rope bridges to get to dance floors, you know, and that's what we create, you know. We create, so, you know, African parties with rope bridges, and you're crossing a river with, you know, and that can be in a wedding. There's no reason why you couldn't have a nightclub area like that in a wedding, and there's all sorts of ways of creating it. Also dealing with, so we did one that was in a garden, lots of split levels, so we had to build the marquees up and build staircases within the marquees that swept down. But because there was a drop, I created a faux wall that was like a dry stone wall, and we had just hundreds of tiny tea lights sitting on the stones of this faux dry stone wall it just looked like fairyland. And those are the things, you know, hundreds of tea lights don't have to cost a lot of money, but it's just having the creative to put that in there.
I think there'll be some wedding couples watching this who are feeling super inspired right now. I mean, where did your name come from, the Angels? Was it because you're literally like the dream creators? What was it?
So when we started out, there was due to be 4 of us actually, and we were going to be a full service marketing company. So we were events, PR, marketing, and then there was one lady who was the sort of making it all happen in the background. And so there were 4 of us, so we called ourselves the Angels because we just made everything happen.
Yeah.
So when it didn't all just sort of happen at the same time for everybody, you know, leaving positions and all the rest of it, I still kept the name. And my icon was a girl with a champagne bottle. And that's where the Angels started.
I love that, but I do think it just fits so well. But it was such a good choice of name, like 20 years ago to now. It's just so perfect for what you do. It just describes perfectly the sort of service you give.
Well, we have some wonderful words written for us by our clients after, and so many, you know, angels by name, angels by nature. You call yourself the Angels, and you truly are. And that, you know, that makes me very proud. I love what we do, and I love what we create. We really, you know, it's the start of people's lives together. You know, their day together is the start of people's lives, and it's such a special thing. And what a privilege it is to be asked to be involved with it, and have some sort of, it's a bit caring role, really. We're very lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. I mean, what's your proudest moment? Can you pick one?
Gosh, there are so many. I don't know. I don't know. Gosh, that's a difficult one, Julia. I don't know. I have so many different things. I have so many different things that I'm proud of. I love it when clients come back again and again. I love that people send me messages on their anniversary saying we're watching our video and thank you again, it's still the best day of my life. I don't know, there are so many of them.
No, but that's great though, because it's been a long time since you started the business, so I think it would have been really strange if you'd been able to say, well, actually it's this one thing, but actually it's all the people coming together, isn't it, to make the overall feeling one of, actually, I'm proud of what I've created here, and we're going to go on to do bigger and better things as well.
I think one of the most proud moments when Robbie Williams came out at one of our events singing the Angels. I think that was
my God.
that was quite amazing, and then gave me a wink when he did it. I was like, that's okay, I love that.
That is absolutely fantastic. Oh, I'm jealous.
Yes.
I love a bit of Robbie Williams. They really should have got Robbie back to do the 2020 New Year, I think, into 2021. They should have pulled him out. I think they did it a few years ago, and they should have got him back. Instead of Alicia Keys, it should have been Williams. Yeah, I tried actually to get my husband to have Angels as our first dance at our wedding, and he refused me. But so I really do like that song. But I bet that was such a good moment.
Yes, it was. It was a bit of a pinch me moment. Yes.
Yeah, it's one to hold on to as well, to think, yeah, okay, we've made it here.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but it was a nice one.
I think so. I definitely think you have.
There's always the next one. There's always the next one.
Well, yeah, who's your next superstar artist that's going to sing you a song that...
If I told you, I would have to kill you.
Okay, yeah, I love that. This is why I haven't asked you either about which of your events is your favourite or anything like that, because I know you wouldn't tell me, because I know that you keep things very, very private for your clients.
It's really important to our clients that they know that what we do for them is we're in their family, we're in their homes, and this is a big part of what they do. You know, the weddings, it's private, so it's hugely important for them to feel confident that we will look after them and their families really in this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think that's a really lovely touch as well, that it's, you know, you have worked on some amazing weddings, but you'll only share with us the ones that the bride and groom, or the groom and bride want to share. And I think that's really great. I really respect that, actually, because at the end of the day, a wedding is for the people at the wedding at the time. It's for the couple and their family. So yeah, that's really good, and that is why I haven't pressed you on that. So listen,
it's generally my last one, though. It's generally my last, the last event I've done is the one I've put my heart and soul into.
Yeah, it's good. Well, this is the thing. I was saying, like with my magazine, it's like each issue has to be better than the last one. Otherwise, I'm not happy. And I do stress that I don't know if I can make it better, but then we always do. Because you learn and you up level. So it's interesting. There's quite a lot of pressure on this next issue as well after a little break.
Gosh, I know.
Before we go, let's talk about your Hire and Style service as well. Yes. So do you want to tell us about Hire and Style?
So as the in all the millions of years I've been doing this, as things have moved along, we have invested in pieces which I touched on earlier that have helped us create the events that we've been asked to create. And some of the things are just not available. They're just not available to hire. So from other places. So for example, we wanted some crystal candelabras that would work at our events. So we invested in them, we bought them, and we think about the spaces that we want to use them, and that they can be changeable as well. So that, you don't want a piece that always looks the same in every event. So oh gosh, they're rolling that out again. But we create different. So we ended up with a huge warehouse full of treasure, real treasure, and beautiful, beautiful things. And we were at a wedding fair, in fact, I think it was one of yours.
Yeah.
And a bride came to us and said, and we'd got this incredible stand. We always create this magical stand. And a bride said, well, I don't want a wedding planner, but can I hire that candelabra? And I thought, there's a thought. So Hire and Style was born. Hire and Style gives brides who don't necessarily want a wedding planner or an event organizer, that they've got most of it covered themselves. They're just missing their key pieces. Quite often you'll find that florists won't have the big vase. They won't have lots of different options because they can't hold stock of them. They don't want to invest in them. Well, we do. We invest in them because we see the importance of having them at our parties. So I have probably 50 different ranges of vases. Shopping habit. Got a shopping habit. Yeah, 50 different vases with different sizes, but scale of things. So we might have 30 of the same vase, 40 of the same vase, lots of different candelabras, huge big urns to put floral pieces in the middle of bar frames that we've had created for our events, but then different panels to go on the fronts of those. So they might be beautiful button velvet. They might be mirrored. They might be wooden panelled, like a beautiful panelling on the front. We can make custom ones for different fun parties. We've got a black one, and we've got rectangular, oval, round. And Hire and Style was born. So Hire and Style was born because of that, because we saw the need for beautiful things that people can't hire anywhere else.
And also, I love giving these things life, getting them used when they're not just sitting there in your warehouse. I mean, there's a sustainability message in that as well, that instead of people having to buy more and more and more, you're actually providing a service where actually the florist can come and hire for you. Other planners, I think Catherine was telling me, can come and hire from you.
And that's the big key thing, is that people mustn't feel that, oh gosh, it's the Angels. It's not the Angels, it's Hire and Style. It's run by a different team. It's it's in a warehouse. It's you can come and collect from the warehouse, or we can deliver. It can have installation. It can just be a collect. So what we try to do is not buy things that other people might have. So it's not the standard dining chair. It's the lounge furniture. It's the bar furniture, chandeliers, candelabras, urns, vases, you name it, lots of things. And silk floral as well. I think, again, you're talking about the longevity. Some people do struggle with the fact that there's thousands of pounds of the flowers that just go in a bin bag at the end, which they do, which is sad, or the compost heap at the end of the event. And even though, you know, we try not to use Oasis now, everything's in, you know,
in the wire.
It's still, it's a lot of, you know, it's not great, is it? So quite a lot of people are moving to the silk. We've got a huge array of silk, floral, beautiful silk floral as well. Floral.
I think it's well, sometimes if you do want that fresh floral, it's nice to use silk to bulk and then add floral on top of the silk as well. I did that at my own wedding and it was great. You know, it saved us money, saved the environment, everything.
I think also we're doing quite a lot with floral ceilings now. So over the bar, a beautiful big oval hanging floral ceiling. Well, you can't really do that in fresh because it's just not going to live. Plus the fact the heating rises and it will. So silks is the way forward for that. So we have all the floral ceilings as well, which are brilliant. So over a grand piano in the centre of an event, a big dropping, gorgeous floral ceiling.
Oh, amazing. It's just amazing. I think it's interesting you say, oh, you know, hire and style is not the angels, because there's a perception like, oh, planners might not want to use us because of our reputation as being the best, you know, this vibe. But I think, do you know what? I would hope that particularly now after everything we've been through this year, that people get over that a little bit and they think, well, actually, they're providing a service that we can use to up our game for our couples. And if I'm a florist, I want to provide my couples with the best array of ideas. And actually, if there's someone who's hiring it out, it doesn't matter who they are. And actually, if it's someone who's really good at what they do, even better. So I think
because we're not florists, you know, we're not florists. I went and did some floral training in days gone by. I went to Covent Garden and did quite a bit of floral training because I wanted to understand flowers more for our clients. What was seasonal, what, you know, what should be moved, how to, you know, best use spend of money, you know, all that kind of stuff, what can be achieved with what flower heads. So but I'm not a florist, so we don't do flowers ourselves. We would sub-hire in a florist who was the right one for that bride. And again, that's with all of us. We cherry pick. So we take the client's brief and then we cherry pick all the right suppliers who are the right ones to create their event. And that's the key to our events looking different, is that it's a jigsaw of suppliers. It's not always the same. We don't just have the same team, because if we had the same team, I might as well employ them and they would all relatively look the same. So ours is more, you know, we bring the right people in to do the job. And that's where I, like you say, the hire and style thing for other planners, florists, I think it's a fabulous option.
I know. I mean, I'm getting on that for our next. I said to Catherine, I'll be in touch with you for our style shoots, because why not?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, why not make use of the Aladdin's cave down the road in Masham?
We've got some beautiful semicircular taupe sofas, velvet taupe sofas, which in the corners of bar areas just look absolutely stunning, just to bring the room in. And then the central bar in the middle, or an oval with a big hanging piece above it. You know, that can be rustic, like you were saying. It could be pampas, which, you know, we've all been loving the pampas.
No naked flames though near that.
Oh, crikey, no goodness me.
Oh my god, I had a pampas incident on a shoot recently, well, ages ago now, but it was scary.
Yeah, it just goes up like a tinderbox,
literally. And you're like, oh, my hair's gone. But yeah.
It looks very nice.
But you know what? Actually, you talked about that jigsaw of suppliers, and I think that's overlooked sometimes, because that is not an effortless job. Well, obviously, and it's a real skill, Julia. It's a real skill, because it's finding the people who can create. Because not every florist has this, you know, not every florist can create what's right for that client. Not every caterer is the right one, personality wise or creation wise. And it's forcing something, you know. Quite often I find that clients on their own would go to a supplier because they think that's the one to go to, but ask them to produce something that's really not their natural, not their natural way. And I'm quite keen on that, you know. I'm quite keen on that.
that's why we really get on this under the skin of our suppliers to understand their creative.
I agree with you. I do the same sort of thing for the magazine when I'm putting our creatives together. See who wants to be involved, you know, vet that process. Then when I'm left with all my leftover suppliers, I think, right, who would work well with who to create the brief that I'm wanting to deliver for. Maybe like a dress shop's more involved and, you know, wants a certain look. It's hard, and you're wanting to keep everyone happy, but I've got to keep them happy too. So it's like another level. But it is difficult, and on different briefs, different people will perform better naturally against others, and it's a skill that only comes with years of experience. So I think also, it's not to be underestimated.
I've heard some dreadful horror stories about sort of smaller suppliers taking on more than they can chew. You know, they end up with no fault of their own, just biting off more they can chew, and then the client ends up being the one that's let down. So those are the things that we always have an understanding of what actually they can produce, what their you know, what their capabilities are.
And it's not fair on the small suppliers, because obviously when you're starting out, you want the jobs, so you take on the jobs, particularly the well-paid ones. You're like, okay, yeah, snap your hand off. But actually, if as planners, if you can support those smaller, newer businesses, but in the right way, that's so much better. It's just so much better all around. Oh, Eleanor, I feel like we've chatted about so much. Let's give your contact details. So if people want to find you, what's your website address?
So it's the-angels.com. But if you type into Google The Angels Harrogate, I'm sure we will be right up there. The Angels Events Harrogate.
And I'll also drop in your Instagram handle as well, so everyone can check you out, and also the Hire and Style handle too. So anyone watching or listening to this, please do go and check out The Angels Harrogate on Google, and find Eleanor's website and check out what they do, because I mean, we've talked about it, but I think you need to see some pictures now.
Thank you for having me, Julia. Thank you. It's been
Thank you so much. I could talk to you all day about parties. It's one of my favourite topics too. So we better, you know, actually some actual work today. But yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
But it's been such a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.